Welcome back and happy Tuesday. If you are listening to this episode on release day, I'm super excited because today I have Meagan DeLange with me on the podcast. And I'm just really excited to share her journey because she has made so many incredible shifts in such a short period of time. I actually met her earlier this year through Fierce Athletica, who brought me on as a guest speaker to talk to some of their clients about emotions. Surprise, surprise. And hopefully I don't steal your thunder here, Meagan, but she has also very recently started a podcast, which I think is super cool. And I'm so excited for you to share more. So let me just turn this over to you and tell us a little bit more about who you are.
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Meagan. I live in beautiful Utah. I was born and raised here. I have 3 awesome kids. They're 12, 9, and 6. And I'm about to celebrate my 20th anniversary with my husband.
Oh, yay! So exciting.
Thank you. And for work, I get the awesome opportunity of being a fitness coach for a company where we help women feel like awesome about their lives by starting with the body. So we help them really learn to like love and appreciate their beautiful bodies. And I'm so excited to be here today and to share my journey. And thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming on. So let's dive into the past. What was life like before you started your personal development or inner work journey?
Yeah, so I would describe my life as small, and I didn't even know it. So, like, my thoughts were small, my ideas were small, my interactions with other people. I was very avoidance driven, meaning I would avoid emotions, I would avoid conflict or discomfort, avoid failure for sure. Like, I was just like hidden within myself. There was a lot of resistance in my life. I don't know if you've read Stephen Pressfield's War of Art book, but he talks about
but it's been
resistance
years.
keeping us. Yeah, it keeps us from our true calling in life. And so I wouldn't have maybe recognized it back then, but I was definitely like just distracting myself a lot through work or numbing emotions and things like that. A lot of self-doubt, very critical.
Yeah. So you said small. What signs would people see to recognize that they too might be? I think you used the word playing small.
Yeah, I would just say that if their life seems like Groundhog's Day, like it's just the same all the time, they're not really growing or changing. Those are the signs that I probably like would have like picked up on if I would have like thought, oh, like my life is small right now. I think that's how I would have noticed it. It was just the same day in and day out, like survival mode. I wasn't like thriving.
Yeah, that makes sense. And tell us more about the resistance. Like now that you read that book and you can see, oh, I was definitely operating in that way. What was coming up for you?
Yeah, so things would come along like it would be procrastination or just like distracting myself with something else. And I think inside like the universe or whatever we want to call it is like calling to us and trying to get us to live the calling in our lives that we're supposed to, but we avoid it and have that resistance. So that's how
That
this showed up for me.
resonates with me for sure. So there was something else that you said that I was going to ask about, but I lost that thought. So keep going. Anything else about just what life looked like, how you felt about yourself, how you saw the world?
So my view of the world, I just felt like there was like this secret code that I needed to know that I didn't have, or like a playbook that everybody else had that I wasn't given. And almost like I was a foreigner in my own life, that I needed like a translator or a guide to like tell me how to live my life. That's how I viewed the world.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Can you think of any specific examples where that showed up?
I remember just thinking that I was different, like I thought different. I was in a really fast-paced job, which I'll talk about in a second. And I just remember always thinking like, why do I take so long to come up with a solution? Or why am I thinking about this so differently? So feeling different was huge for me. And then just feeling like lost and scared and inside myself. I just felt, that foreign feeling a lot.
Yes, yes. I in just thinking about other people who have shared this with me, and the phrase of like, you kind of were making yourself wrong. Like, it's not you said I was taking too long, and what's too long? Like, according to whom? But in many ways, so many people do this.
Yeah. Yeah. And I felt like this buzzing feeling inside. I don't know how else to describe it other than like this like feeling like almost like if you have too much caffeine or something, like just this like unrestful, like
Mm-hmm.
disquieted feeling. And it
Mm-hmm.
was constant in my life and I didn't know where that was coming from. And I'll talk about that too when I get to like the end and how things have changed. Like I feel like I totally figured that out, which is exciting.
That's so
So
exciting. You could share more. Just tell us, take us wherever you want to go.
yeah, so with that feeling I was just mentioning, I guess I can just talk about it now. Like I realized like the movie Tinkerbell, how she's like she can't really talk, but she's like in Peter Pan. It was
Yes,
my inner child. I don't know if you remember this, but
I do.
I had to go back to my inner 6-year-old that was just like, hey, hey, hey. And
Yes.
once we went back and we did that exercise of like going back to when I was 6 and when I felt like neglected and unloved by very great
Mm-hmm.
parents, but they were too busy,
Mm-hmm.
and just going
Mm-hmm.
back and giving my inner child what she needed was like a really cool thing that happened. And I don't have
Yes.
that like disconnected feeling anymore that was so normal
Yes.
for me. And I didn't like
Yes.
it, but it was just like, oh, I guess this is just my normal. It's just me being anxious or something.
Yes. So that was the part of you that was basically trying to get your attention. Like, listen to me. And then once you
Yes.
did, everything changed,
Hmm.
which is kind of
Yeah,
mind blowing.
totally.
Yeah.
It's
So
so mind blowing.
yeah. So just
Yeah.
to give a little bit of context. So I came and do you want to give this story or do you want to give the context? I was the guest speaker. I mentioned it a little bit at the beginning, but do you
Yeah.
want?
No, I can talk about it if you would
Okay.
like me
Okay.
to. Yeah, and I feel like I need to preface it with the job that I had before. So I was working
Mm-mm.
for a company for 12 and a half years. I'd worked up the ladder. I felt really loyal and thought I would be there forever in this company. But there was this time toward the end, I don't work there anymore, where I just started feeling like stagnant, like I didn't want to go into work. I was dreading it. I felt
Mm-hmm.
suffocated, but I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know what else to do. I didn't know where else I would go. And it just felt like, again, that I was just meant to do that forever, even though I was feeling this discomfort in it. And we got a new director, and I ended up getting let go. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember feeling it was a total shock, totally blindsided. And I was just
Mm-hmm.
like, what's happening right now? Why is this happening to me? And I remember the owner of the company, whom I really loved, was in there with this new director that was firing me. And she just said, Megan, I'm like pushing you out of the nest. And like, what a
Mm.
cool thing. But at the time, I was like, this just sucks. Like, don't tell me you're
Yeah.
pushing me out of the nest. But I'm so grateful for that now because so many people I think are stuck in an occupation that they don't like, a life they don't like, and there's nobody like pushing them out of the nest to go fly. And so now I view that as really comforting. And then I was able to meet you through the
Yeah.
company
I'm going
that
to
I
jump in
currently
really
work
quick
for.
here. Let me jump in really
Yeah.
quick. So I'm going to point out when someone feels stuck, and I resonate with that experience because before I did the inner work, and I mean, I continue to do it on a daily basis. Before, I felt stuck in many situations. And so a neat way to look at this is when I feel stuck, what choices, conscious or unconscious, am I making that is keeping me stuck? Because most people are never really taught to look at things like that. And like you said, we're not always going to have an opportunity where someone pushes us out of the nest, so to speak, and helps you end up flourishing. But sometimes that's not going to happen for people. So whoever is listening today, think about, where do I feel stuck? And if I were making choices, what might they be that are keeping me stuck?
Oh, I love that. That's so good. So helpful.
Yes.
Um, yeah, so after, like, while I was still working for this company, I was a client of the fitness company that I currently work with, and we
Mm.
focus a lot on mindset. They focused a lot on mindset for me as a client. And so I had started to kind of see, like, oh, like, there's some cool stuff out there. Like, I just don't know how to get it. And then
Yes.
when I was let go from my job of 12 and a half years, I started working for this fitness company that I was the client of. And it was just a whole new world of like possibility. And I remember feeling like I'm here and I want to be here, but I don't know how to navigate this gap. I don't know what to do with
Yes.
it. And so it was just this like awesome, like stretching feeling,
Mm-hmm.
but also like, okay, where's my guide? Like, I don't know what I'm doing with this. And I remember the turning point, I think, for me was a call that we had with our clients. And we were talking about limiting beliefs. And
Mm.
I was in a really low point and thinking about like all of
Mm.
my limiting beliefs as we were
Yes.
on the call with our clients. And I just was like, okay, I've got to do something. And within like a couple of weeks, you came on one of our client calls, like as a teaser, and did that call about emotions. And
Yeah.
you mentioned feeling broken. And I was like, it like hit me in the chest. And I was like, oh my
Mm.
heck, like when the student's ready, like the master, here she is.
Oh, I
There you
just
were,
got
Stephanie. And I'm
goosebumps.
it's
Oh,
incredible.
yes.
Yes.
Yes. Not that you felt broken, but obviously Broken to Brave podcast, that's why we're here, is because that was my experience and it is of far too many. But just even hearing you say when the student is ready, like the master will come, the expert will come, the guide will come. I like it. That's the phrase I like. Yes. Wow. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Keep going.
Oh, no, you're good. And I just feel like so often we need to know, like I felt like I needed to know A to Z, right? And it's like, oh, I just need to know A to B. And then I feel like if you're putting in the work, like the people will come into your lives, the opportunity. Well, at least that was true for me. And I've heard it from so many people that if we're just like stepping, like we'll get to our Z and it's probably totally different than we thought it was going to be. Like
Yes,
so
I
much.
couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. So many times I hear like the way that I hear it phrased is like, I just want to feel confident. I just want to like figure out, what to do and then I'll do it. It's like, no, like action creates clarity. You got to take this step and it's just stepping from A to B and
Yes.
then it creates clarity of where to go from there. So 100% with you there.
Yeah, so that's how I felt before, like just that whole
Yeah.
little synopsis.
Yes. Yes.
It's so funny. I have to
Ah.
go back in my notes because you have us do like a questionnaire when we start working with you in the Brave program. And I had forgotten so much of what I used to feel like because it's just like such a radical change that I was like, oh, I forgot about that like unsettled feeling and the fear that I had. Like it's incredible, like how much we can change in such a short amount of time.
That
So
is so beautiful, Megan. I love it. You're like that. You were like, oh my God, I forgot I felt that. Yes. Yes,
yes.
yes, yes. And you said a short period of time just for clarification for people listening. I think I came and was a guest speaker. Was it in March, maybe? So
Hmm.
maybe we're talking about from
Yeah.
like April to now. Oh,
Yes.
and yeah, so April to
Yeah.
the end of September, October timeframe. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so
So like 6 months, but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's pretty incredible. I feel sad. I did an episode last week where I talked about like healing does not have to take a long time, and it's not like a check the box, like, oh, fully healed, done. It's a
Oh, yeah.
journey. However, we can take massive shifts or make massive shifts in such a short period of time. And I think the current accepted model of talk therapy often does not create results like that. And it's sad because I've talked to so many women who went to therapy for years, and they're like, it feels good to get it off my chest, but then I don't really know what to do with everything. And I don't know. I feel sad when I hear that.
Yes. Yes. I have friends in that boat that are doing like talk therapy type
Mm-hmm.
things. And yes, years for them too. And I'm like, oh, you need to just do
Yeah.
this
Come on
approach.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember having breakthroughs just even in the first like few weeks. Like it's incredible, like what can happen.
Yes. And you showed up so brave and so open. And I think that's something that makes you unique. And that's how I knew that you were really ready to, because sometimes people, maybe they're not as ready. And a bit resistant. And not that there's anything wrong with resistance, because it's good to be skeptical and to ask, okay, is this going to work for me? But you were willing to like try the jacket on and just see, does this make a difference for me? Because you could always go back to the way that you were when we started working together.
Right. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. I remember that. I was like, I think I was just at the point where I was so sick of feeling how I was feeling that I was like, I will try anything. And the methods we used were great. They weren't like crazy. They didn't sound crazy. It felt like so much truth to me. It was like this like coming home feeling of like, it's beautiful. Like I feel like I was like coming back to myself. Like I already knew these things, but like life had like beaten them out of me. And you were just like uncovering the truth for me and like taking off the armor, you know, like it's so beautiful.
Yes.
Just
that's exactly
that feeling of,
yes.
yeah.
Yes. Because we come out of the womb, you know, just pure love and light. And then it is
Curious,
armor.
yeah.
What was
Yeah.
that?
Oh, I was just saying we come to the earth so curious too. And I feel like life like beats
Yes.
a lot of us. And that's
Yes.
like the favorite thing that I've experienced with this is just like my curiosity is like so heightened and it's just
It
so fun.
is. Yes. Okay. So tell us more about where you are now, how you view the world, how you feel about yourself. What shifted for you?
Yeah, so I wake up so excited to live my life now. And not that everything's like roses all the time, but I just
Yeah.
feel like I'm so much more clear on my identity and my purpose in life and who I am. I'm so much more self-aware. Like I mentioned, the feeling like I was different before. Now I realize my differences are so cool. Like I have unique talents and abilities to share, and I'm not like ashamed of how I'm different. I'm like excited about how I'm different now.
Yes. That's huge.
Yeah, it's so refreshing. It's like someone just like breathed life into me again. I like the whole Pandora's box thing, right? Like if we think of ourselves like that, I'm like, I want to open this Pandora's box. I want to see everything. Like I love my past now because I know I can go back and like rewrite it into something that serves me rather than like feeling like a victim to it. It's just so cool.
Okay, let's sit here
So
for a second. There are many women that I've spoken with, some that will probably never work with me, some that maybe they will, that are afraid of. Actually, the question that I hear is, what will I find if I open Pandora's box? So, with the wisdom that you have now, what would you say to those women?
I would say that there's only love there. That's what I experienced. Like it's like your truest self and you're going to love her. Like it's very liberating to just be able to like shine light on all of you and to see what's there and anything that is in your past, like you can go back and rework it and do work around it to just make it beautiful. Like there's nothing that you need to leave hidden in you. It's beautiful.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I think about like an old version of me. How did I feel when I heard people say, like, it's love? And I just, I think I found it really hard to believe, because I was like, well, maybe they are, but I'm flawed. And so I think what I want you to take away, if you're listening right now, and you can chime in, Meagan, too, is that even if you feel that way, you're wrong. And that's what, like, you're wrong in the most loving way. You are not. Just because you feel flawed or broken or anything else doesn't mean that it's true. And that's the beautiful thing.
Yes, I love that so much. I totally agree with that. I think it can feel scary, but I think just approaching it with curiosity and faith that it's going to be okay. Like you can see all the parts of you and love yourself so much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, tell us more about where you're at, what you've discovered, how you feel.
Yeah, so where I said my life was small before, I feel like my life is big, like in the best way. It feels just like that curiosity again and just wondering what else can I do? Like facing fear, like I actually like want to seek failing and seek resistance now and seek discomfort because I know there's awesome stuff on the other side of that.
Yes, 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 yes. After doing that through this work, it just opened
Yes.
your mind to like what else is possible.
Yeah, it's like the movie The Croods, that they're a little caveman family and they live in their cave. And the daughter wants to go out and see like what's in the world. And they're like, no, like you could get eaten. And she's like, no. Like I feel like that where I was living in a cave and I'm like, oh
Mm.
my gosh, the world is so big and beautiful and it's not scary. I'm not gonna get eaten. I'm gonna go out there and like thrive.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, I love hearing that. What else?
Um, yeah, as part of this, I've been able, you mentioned a podcast earlier. I never thought I
Yes.
would be making my own podcast. So I started a podcast with my friend Jen, and it kind of came about in a cool way. We were reading these amazing books, and I felt like I was holding water in my hand after I finished one of these awesome books because like these ideas were so cool. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to change my life. But you can't
Yes.
hold on to water. Like it's going to run
Right.
through your fingers. You know? So we were like, how can we? It's exactly what it felt like to me. It's like, how can we take what we're learning and like really like integrate it into our lives? So we decided, if for no one else, for ourselves to start this podcast about, deep diving into books and just ideas on how to thrive. So the podcast is called Freedom to Flourish and
Mm.
Life Beyond Fear, its full name. And we're just going for it. I love the quote, what are you going to do with like your amazing, beautiful life? It's something along those lines. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I just had one of these. I want to like live to the fullest. So
Yeah. And the podcast and recapping all of those learnings is going to help you integrate it and embody it because one of the best ways to do that is to teach. And essentially, that's what you'll be doing. I can't wait to listen. Do you have an
uh,
estimated release date or, yeah, launch date? That's the word I was looking for.
yeah, it's up right now. So people can listen
Oh,
to it. It's just on YouTube. We haven't gotten it on like a podcast forum like set up yet, but we do have a YouTube channel. So
yay. I can't wait to check it out.
yeah, it's been so fun.
So, yeah, you never thought you would do something like that
Oh
before.
my goodness, no, never. It would
Yeah.
never would have crossed my mind. And that's what I love about that A to Z. Like Z will be so different and so awesome than anything
Yes.
you think it will be. So
Yes. There's no way that you could have anticipated. Yeah. And still, all of
no.
us, life just keeps getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's this quote that I think by Rumi, it says, what you're seeking is seeking you. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I feel like that used to be like, oh, sure, that's cute. But now that I've done all of this work, I'm like, I really believe that's true. Like the universe conspires to like show up for you and you start to show up for yourself. So it's really cool.
I really agree. All of the, inner work and universe quotes make a lot more sense after doing the work.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So good. Is there anything else that you want to share before I ask you the last question?
I don't think so.
Okay. So if someone was asking herself, someone who's high achiever and has moments where she feels broken and she's asking herself, like, why am I like this? What advice would you give her?
Oh, I love this question so much because that was me and that's so many people I know. And
Yeah.
I would just say that's not who you are.
Mhm.
It's not who you are. And your life is able to be radically different, so different than you think. And your life is waiting, your family, the world is waiting for you. We need everyone, right? And especially these strong women who like know who they are. And I just feel like we were just beautifully designed to have
Mhm.
like joy in our lives. So that's what I would say, that you don't have to live a small life. And it's so beautiful to pursue like all this inner work because it's amazing and it will happen faster. Changes will happen faster than you think.
Yes. Give yourself the gift so that you can feel that joy. I love that.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Meagan. I appreciate you coming on today. And for all of the listeners, I'm going to link your podcast, Freedom to Flourish, so that you can start listening to hers and maybe save yourself some time. You don't have to read the books. You just get the takeaways. Right?
Yeah. It's a good time.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you
I
so
will
much,
talk to you
Stephanie.
soon.
Thank you.